Welcome back, everyone, to the Men on a Mission podcast. I'm your host, Brad Richard, and shortly we will be starting our next episode. We will be providing you tools, resources, and information that you can use to make your life just a little bit better. But before we do that, let's honor our country, and then we'll begin the podcast. Welcome back, everyone, to the Men on a Mission podcast. I'm your host, Brad Richard, and today I'm going to share with you a great website that I found. The name of the website is Psych Armor, and I also want to let you know that I will have the link to this website in the show notes. So today we do not have a guest with us, but we are going to cover 15 things that veterans want you to know. If you are a family member, if you are interested or support the military, these are 15 things based on a survey of veterans that is available at Psych Armor, and we are going to cover the 15 things that veterans want you to know. So let's get started. Number one, we are not all soldiers. That's the first one. Each branch of the U.S. military have their own mission. Each have different services, different ranking, different uniforms, and perform different missions expertly. Each have their own mini culture. Only Army personnel are soldiers. Need to state military personnel or veterans as reference and not generalize all as soldiers. So that's the first thing they want you to know. Number two, reserves are part of the military. There are two ways to serve in uniform in our country. Active duty, full-time, is to serve in the active duty forces of the military. Reserves are trained to serve and have day-to-day civilian jobs, may have previously served on active duty. Training includes 1 weekend per month, 2 weeks per year. They remain ready and serve together as a unit. They are mobilized as needed, can be disruptive. Being in the reserves can be disruptive to work and family life, often don't have the resources and support, would return back from their missions as active duty military personnel. All branches of the military have reserves. Some military personnel make the choice to stay in the reserves after leaving active duty to stay ready and remain in the military. They have their own unique challenges, since living day to day as a civilian, then they can have an immediate and abrupt change to their lives, then return back to their community where they may not be understood. Both active duty and the reserves balance and complement each other. That is number two. Number two, reserves are part of the military. Number three, not everyone in the military is infantry, in tanks, on patrol, etc. Active duty is made up of 1.4 million Americans among the 5 branches. Reserves have 800,000. Range from infantry to technicians, mechanics, cooks, administrators, lawyers, doctors, and musicians. Expertly trained for months and years to get specialty ratings. Jobs have different physical and mental requirements and demands, but not everyone in the military is an infantry soldier. Only Army personnel are considered to be soldiers. Number 4, military has leaders at every level in the chain of command, different rank structures in all branches, leadership in place at every different level. Military culture prides itself on this. Responsible and accountable for others is what gives pride. Less important to know what rank the person was, most important to know the person followed orders and was responsible for others. That's number 4 out of the 15 things veterans want you to know about the military. Number 5, military is always on duty. They live their work 24/7. Readiness is a full-time, around-the-clock job. Takes its toll on military personnel and their families. There is no off day. Even when on leave, they can be called back immediately at a moment's notice. Number 6, take pride in appearance and conduct. All military services have standards for the way people look in uniform. Takes physical fitness seriously. Held to a standard of conduct and are held accountable. Boy, we in the civilian world could sure use more of that, couldn't we? Number 7, we did not all kill someone. Those who have do not want to talk about it. This is a question you should never ask a veteran. Number 7, that is number 7. We're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we'll continue with our list of 15 things veterans want you to know. And I want to remind you that this information I did find on the website. It is from an organization called PsychArmor.org, PsychArmor.org. I will have that link in the show notes. They offer free courses and information to people on how to communicate and understand veterans and what to say and what not to say. So to veterans, when you're having a conversation with them and trying to understand them a little bit better. So that's PsychArmor.org. When we get back, we will continue with our list. We will start off with number 8 and finish the list, and then we'll go from there. So I hope you're finding these 15 things that veterans want you to know. I hope you find it helpful, and we'll be right back after a short break. Welcome our new sponsor, Scars and Stripes Coffee Company. They empower veterans to build their own business using their e-commerce platform. When you purchase from Scars and Stripes Coffee, you are buying from a veteran, and your purchase directly impacts the men and women who have served our country. Do more than say, thank you for your service. Order today and empower a veteran. Use vet code Brad Richard at scarsandstripescoffee.com. That's scarsandstripescoffee.com. Have you heard about Anchor? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. They have great creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, and it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'll need to make a podcast in one place. Check them out and download the free Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm to get started. Welcome back, everyone, to the Men on a Mission podcast. I'm your host, Brad Richard. And in the first part of this episode, episode 43, We are covering 15 things that veterans want you to know, whether you are just a friend, relative, coworker, or a family member of a veteran. Through a survey done with veterans involved, and these questions basically came from veterans, and these 15 things are what veterans want you to know. So let's continue on with our list in the second part of this short episode on the Men in a Mission podcast. We left off with number 8. Number 8, we do not all have PTSD. Combat can be traumatic and can cause PTSD that may require treatment. PTSD can occur with normal people who have lived through something horrible and need help. PTSD can be caused by many different types of trauma, including combat. All plays into the development of PTSD. Most people who experience a trauma do not go on to develop post-traumatic stress disorder. The majority have naturally recovered and are doing fine. There will be individual differences in how people respond. Inquire about what is the worst day in the military service and the best day when talking with a veteran. That is number 8. Number 9, those of us who do have invisible wounds of war are not dangerous or violent. Invisible combat wounds include post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, depression, substance use disorder, and invisible wounds are real and are injuries, not mental illness or psychiatric condition. Deserve the same treatment as with visible injuries. The majority of people with invisible wounds are not prone to becoming dangerous or violent. Unfortunate myth has developed. The majority of these veterans do not display violence. That's number 9. Number 10, it's hard to ask for help. Military has a long-standing history of promoting emotional and physical perfection. Stigma is better. Invisible wounds are more validated now. Just understand that it is hard to ask for help. You are one step closer to being closer to them. That's number 10. That's how it's written is number 10. Number 11, our military service changes us. The military changes people. The change is permanent, and that's okay. That's number 11. Number 12, we differ in how much we identify with the military after we leave active duty. How much military service is played out day to day is different from person to person. Ask a veteran, how do you define yourself now? How has your military service shaped you? We integrate our military experiences in different ways. Number 12. Number 13, our families serve with us. The military family's experience is unique and challenging. Frequent separation from loved ones. Some military families move every 2 or 3 years. Difficult to establish school and work employment. Changing family dynamics and responsibilities. Here's the good part: resilience, adaptive, and flexible. Stop and think about the sacrifice the families have made. Number 14. We would die for each other and our country. Period. That's it for number 14. Strong statement. Number 15. We all have this sacrifice. We've all made this sacrifice for one reason. We serve something more important than ourselves. Defines our culture, honor, commitment, and duty. People make this choice. Number 15. Those are the 15 things that veterans want you to know about themselves, the military, the armed forces, etc., etc. And those are very good points, very good items to look at. Like I said earlier, that I got all this information from psycharmor.org. And the last part of this, and you can also find all of this at their website along with the courses. 5 questions that you should ask. We covered the 15 things that veterans want you to know, and here is 5 questions and one bonus question. 5 that you should ask and 1 that you should never ask. Number 1, did you serve in the military? Veterans want to be asked about their service. It starts the conversation. Number 2, if yes, which branch? By asking this question, it shows that you know there is a difference. Don't need to know all the specifics of each branch. Most important to know that there are differences with each branch and not to generalize. Number 3, the third question to ask, what was your job in the military? There are literally hundreds of things a person could have done in his or her military service. Acknowledgement and validation of knowing all the different things a person could have done in the military. Making the gap smaller. Ask what a person did in the military. It matters. That's number 3. The fourth question that you should ask, what was your worst day in your military service or on deployment? Just to get an understanding of their perspective of what was their worst day. And the fifth question that you should ask a veteran, what was your best day in your military service or on deployment? That is another question that you could ask to kind of get a comparison to their worst day and their best day. And last but not least, the one question you should not ask a veteran is, did you kill someone? Never ask that question. If they did, they won't want to talk about it. And it would just make them feel, uneasy, uncomfortable, and probably will will lead to them shutting down the conversation pretty quickly. So I hope you found that beneficial to the people listening to the Men on a Mission podcast that are not serving in the military. And the list that we went through is 15 things veterans want you to know. And we did cover those 15 things. You can get additional information at psycharmor.org, psycharmor.org. And they have free courses and free information, training and teaching and tools there. So check them out. I found this on their website, and I thought it was very, very important to share it with you. So those 15 things, if you want to see them in writing, just go to their website. You can see the list. You can print it out and do with it as you will. And those are the things that veterans want you to know. And also, we covered 5 questions that you should ask a veteran when meeting them for the first time, along with the last question that you should never ask a veteran. And that last question is, did you kill someone? Never ask that question of a veteran. So that is going to wrap up this episode. It's going to be a short episode, but I wanted to share this list with you. And we will be back in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we will have a guest with us, and we'll be back with you in just a couple of weeks. So until next time, I want to thank you for listening to the Men on a Mission podcast. I'm your host, Brad Richard. And until next time, take care of yourself. Don't forget to love your little me. You can also check out the blog on the website, bradrichard.net. Go to the podcast drop-down menu and click on blog. You can subscribe to the blog so you don't ever miss any content. And I would encourage you to do that. It's free to subscribe and sign up for the blog. Also, stay to the very end and sing along to your branch. If you are a veteran listening to the podcast, stay to the very end so you can sing along to your branch song in our military tribute compilation that we have for you. So until next time, you take care and have a great couple of weeks. I'll be back with hopefully a guest and more information for men and women veterans of the USA and their family. Bye for now.
First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor free. We are proud to claim